You are an eternal spiritual being, but your life here on earth is being hijacked. Today I want to talk to you about how and what we can do about it. Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Baby Elephant community. On this channel we talk about spirituality, self-development, and so much more. And today I'm coming to you from the Tesla, best place to record right now, to talk about the 3 or 4 things that society doesn't want us to know, and how these things are disempowering us and what we can do about them. This is a time of the Great Awakening. It's a time where people are coming into their power, where people are starting to understand what has been taken from them, the lies that they've been told, and they're starting to see that they are more than what they thought they were, and that life is more than what they thought it was. So much more than what we were taught it is in school. The indoctrination and the programming and the social constructs, they're all falling apart. And we, as the light workers and the way showers, have got to be at the forefront of these changes, armed with the knowledge and with the ability to enter our heart space and to work and live from that space so that we may be prepared for the new way of things. That being said, let's get into the 4, I think I have 4 things that I want to talk to you about that society doesn't want you to know. Start with number 1, which is you are already perfect. Our experience here on earth has been hijacked. We've been taught that we have to attain to something. We have to become something. We have to amass material objects and success. A better car, a bigger house, better vacations, bigger vacations. And that we can only do this by attaining external power. See, this is not actually the way Earth was supposed to be set up. Earth was supposed to be set up to be a sort of school, but a school where there are no punishments, where you just explore and discover and create and enjoy and just experience your consciousness out of the physical vessel that you've taken on. But unfortunately, when we have this minority controlling the majority, and a minority that has become addicted and sickened by power, where their souls have left their bodies because they've done things that are so horrendous that a soul doesn't want to be in that vessel anymore. So what's taken over is something else. It's just a human physical body, but not with a corresponding soul. And when these people are in charge and they're creating the rules, and we agree to the terms and conditions when we come here, we also agree, and there's a loophole. And that loophole is that we can come into our own power by waking up, by becoming aware of what we signed up for without knowing it, without having conscious awareness of it. So that first secret is that you're already perfect and that you don't have to become anything. You don't have to acquire material success in order to live life on earth the way that you're supposed to. You can do whatever your heart calls you to do, and the new paradigm will support you. You will make money. You will be abundant, because abundance and prosperity is your birthright. If you just remember and realign yourself to that birthright. It was taken away from you, but simply with knowledge and with responsibility, taking the responsibility back into your own hands, you can live a life that's empowered and from a place of where you're doing the things that you want because you want to do them. The way this society is set up is most of our drivers come from fear. So we think that we want to find somebody and marry them, that one person. We want to marry them. We want a marriage. We want to start a family. We want a career that brings in a certain amount of money. We want to look younger and younger. We biohack and inject ourselves with things to make ourselves look young forever, 20 forever. What's the motivator behind that? If you go back far enough, you'll see that it's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not having enough, fear of being ostracized from society, and shame and guilt that comes from social pressure is the most powerful controlling mechanism. That's why what's happening right now on the planet is working so well, because we are being controlled by the shame and guilt of not buying into the fear. It's very, very important that you analyze your driver and your motivators. The things that you want. Why do you want them? Where does the desire come from? Trace it all the way back. And if you find that it comes from love, from wow, I want to do this and I love doing this, keep doing it. Go after it. Get married. Do all those things that you want to do if they come from love and excitement. if it comes from fear of being alone, from fear of not having enough, from fear of death, fear of aging, stop doing those things. Do things out of love. You can make money doing what you love to do. This earth is set in a way where we have access to limitless resources and abundance. Drop that old way of thinking, of, well, I gotta make money, I gotta pay the bills. Yeah, 100%. We all, right now, in the way that this society works, we have to pay bills, right? But we will be supported. The universe rewards bravery when we go after those things that we want, because we want them, not from fear. If fear is keeping you at that same job, if fear is keeping you in that relationship because you think, maybe I'll be safe in this relationship, you have to question it. If you are too afraid to make a life-changing decisions, that's another thing. That's just recognize where your drivers are, what your motivators are. Because when you start following the love, when you start letting your heart lead, you will be supported. The resources will come. The right people will come. You'll be making the space for those things to all come to you. You will tell the universe, I'm aware that I'm a magnet and everything comes to me. As a human being, we are magnets. We don't have to chase things. And really, when we magnetize things to us, they come to us so much more efficiently, so much easier than when we're chasing them. Because when we chase something, it runs away from us. So that's the first thing. There's nothing that you need to become or attain or do. You are already perfect. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to gain weight. You don't have to fix your smile. You don't have to do any. Do things because you want to do them. If you want to feel prettier, if it makes you feel amazing, do it. I put on makeup because it makes me feel great, right? But if it came from a place of like, oh, I feel like nobody would like me because I don't put on makeup, that's what society wants us to feel. Society wants us to feel inadequate so that we can spend and spend and spend on feeling more adequate, and that we can be distracted from our true life's purpose because we're trying to attain all these material objects and this perfect relationship that's going to make me feel safe and I'm going to be protected in it, financially secure in it, rather than coming back to what's real, which is you, which is your heart, which is, what do I want to do? How can I create from here? How can I cultivate my inner power rather than chase after external power? Second thing society doesn't want you to know is the fact that you can heal yourself. Our bodies have the parasympathetic nervous system and all these mechanisms that on a mental, spiritual, and physical level we can activate in order to heal ourselves. We do this through things like breath work, meditation, hypnotherapy, sound healing, color healing, talk therapy. We can literally talk ourselves into better health. It's all a belief system. For thousands and thousands of years, shamans have been healing people through shamanic journeying. This is accessing different realms, different states of the mind, and finding that healing. Society doesn't want us to know that all of our pain, all of our sickness, and all our disease starts on an energetic level. That something became stagnant. Something got rotten in our energy body. Some trauma, some pain has made us sick. We're not taught this. We're not taught that our bodies have self-healing mechanisms and that we have access to them for free. And when you wonder why we're not being taught all these things, it'll always go back to the fact that it all exists for free. That within us we can elicit the healing. That within us we can elicit this power. But it doesn't make anybody else money. And so you're not taught that this exists. The third thing society doesn't want you to know is that your attention is being hijacked. Companies and marketing agencies pay billions of dollars for your attention every single year. Your attention is the single most powerful force of this universe. And so what are they doing? They are limiting our attention. They are making our attention smaller and shorter and creating people who can only pay attention to 15-second TikToks and not 2-hour-long documentaries. Because if our mind is attuned to paying attention to things that matter, we can make choices. We can make different decisions. It always blows my mind to consider the fact that Silicon Valley and all the people who created all these apps that we use, none of them have social media. None of them use social media the way that we use it, addictively, dependently. None of them are harming their own attention spans. In fact, all of these companies, they all have meditation rooms. They all go on meditation retreats. They all do things to strengthen their consciousness and strengthen their attention. They are working on having more mind power while creating apps that diminish our mind power. And so we spend hours a day, especially right now when we're all inside and we need something to entertain ourselves. We find a way to entertain ourselves with shorter and shorter clips, and then we found ourselves 3 hours later having consumed hours of TikToks and Instagram pictures and videos and 180 character tweets and whatever, all to get those hits of dopamine, to get those likes, while they expand their consciousness. They read, they focus, their attention. They know how important attention is. They know how important where they put their attention is, because where attention goes, energy flows. So they're not doing what they are programming us to do. So what do we do about that? Well, we do what these creators do. We strengthen our own attention. We meditate. We read books. We don't give in to those dopamine hits of short content. Sure, it's fine to experience it here and there, but to perpetuate, to have it become your life, where our attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and where they can move our attention to wherever they feel like. Look at this. Now look at this. Now look at this. Feed this thought form your energy. Feed this egregore your power. This is how we are being controlled. And how we take back our power is by taking back control over our own consciousness. Becoming discerning about what we are consuming and what we are doing. The last thing I want to talk about that society doesn't want us to talk about ever is death. We're not taught to talk about it. Death is a taboo. We are so afraid of death, and that's why we do all this biohacking and all these things, which is cool. To be healthier is always better, because you want your human experience to be vibrant and amazing. But all these things that we do with plastic surgery and fillers and Botox and this and that and losing weight and gaining weight and whatever all this is running away from death, because we have been taught to be so afraid of it. Our news doesn't talk about how life is eternal. Our government doesn't talk about how life is eternal. Schools don't teach us. We don't talk about death in school. All we talk about is war. Right? In history, we learn about which side won according to the country where you're learning from. We don't have conscious conversations about death outside of maybe temples and churches in our religion, right? And even then, the conversation has been hijacked in itself, because there's an agenda of what our religion, what the specific religion wants you to do in order to get to heaven. But the conversation about we are eternal spiritual beings, and this isn't our only life, but we came to experience it here. And maybe we don't have absolute proof, but we don't have absolute proof that nothing happens after. And I've said this before, we do have a lot of proof that life continues. We have people who remember past lives. We have near-death experiences. We have these eerie synchronistic coincidences, which are really synchronicities, that show us time and time again. And we have ancient texts that all talk about reincarnation. We have these indigenous societies and these ancient societies that have been around for thousands and thousands of years and have the same knowledge. And this knowledge pops up from all cultures all around the world, that we are eternal, that we never die and we're never born. Yet do we have any proof that nothing happens after we leave this body? We have no proof. The only proof we have is that the brain and the heart stop working, right? That the physical organs shut down. But what of the soul? What of the thing, the consciousness that sparks this body, that moves this and animates this body? We don't talk about that in mainstream society, because there is so much benefit in making people think that this is their only lives, and therefore they have to work to make things happen in this life, rather than to enjoy and find a way to live that suits them for this time, rather than pay off and work through their karmic debt. Which karma doesn't mean that you're a bad person. If you have karmic debt, if you're in the karmic loop, it just means that you have to work through it, right? We came here to work through some karma. But if we don't work through the karma, all we do is accumulate more karma. And for the people who have done such horrendous things, like I was talking about in the beginning of this video, they aren't even in the karmic cycle anymore, because they don't have a soul. Their soul has left. So they will have not something that one of us will have to answer to, because if we're paying off, if we're in the karmic cycle, it means we are pure, beautiful souls. We just have more to learn and more to experience. And so we will keep reincarnating until we don't want to anymore, until we feel like we've had enough. But that eternalness, knowing that and having that conversation brings the power again back to the individual. It makes us realize, well, I'm safe, I'm protected forever. Death is just an initiation into the next aspect of life, right? And we get initiated once we've completed this life, and once we've done the best that we could. And it's not an end, it's a continuation. It goes on. We go on forever. Energy is never created nor destroyed. We just continue. So those are some things that society doesn't want us to talk about and doesn't want us to know. When I say society, it's the very small 1% minority of people who have hijacked all our power. But we are now at a time in our lives in the Great Awakening where we can take that power back. And it starts with knowledge, and the second step is getting into the heart space. That's when we align to the new frequency, to the new paradigm. Thank you so much for listening to my little card chat. If you like it, if you want more, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you made it all the way till the end and aren't subscribed yet. I'd really appreciate you joining the community, joining the family. I love you. I'm holding my camera up so I can't do my outro right, but until next time, keep your vibrations way up.